Moving on now, we're focusing on BLS International Services, the biggest global players in visa application outsourcing. The stock has had a good run in the last 1 year. The gain is almost 90%. Talk about business momentum in the outlook. We have with us Shikhar Aggarwal, Joint MD, BLS International Services. Shikhar, great to have you with us. You know, I want to actually start not with Visa, we'll get to Visa in just a bit, but with your smaller business, which is digital businesses. And it's very interesting to note that you're looking at more tie-ups with banks and looking at offering last mile banking services. Give us some idea of the strategy here, the plan and the scale up. By the end of this year, by how much do you want to scale up this business? And how do the commercials stack up here in terms of profitability for this side of the business?
See, if you see BLS E-Services, the profitability that we did last year, we achieved a bit of 46 crores, which was a 50% growth compared to the previous year. So definitely there has been a major growth in BLS E-Services. The transaction volume, GTV, that we count, we were doing 60,000 crore, in 2023. Last year we closed at 72,000 crore. We are now in 21,000 BC points for different banks across India. We have 100,000 touch points across the length and breadth of the country. We are tying up with more banks, more private sector banks. We started working for HDFC, Access, different other private sector banks. So we expect major growth to come in from BLS E-Services within this year and next few years.
Okay. In terms of a percentage of the business, how much do you see it scaling up to? 20%, 30% in FY25 and FY26? And what would the margin of this business be compared to the visa services business?
See, this business has already scaled up 50% compared to last year. So we grew. So we definitely, we expect organically, definitely we can grow at least more than 20%. But definitely growth, we want to maintain the momentum, whatever we have achieved in the last few years. We are eyeing some acquisitions as well. We are working with different states right now, Karnataka, UP, Rajasthan. We have already added a few more states, this year. We've started some Aadhaar work also with UIDI. So definitely I expect more increment in revenue and profitability to continue this year. Margins in this business right now are lesser than the visa business. We do EBITDA margins of around 15%, whereas in the visa business, we do EBITDA margins of upwards of 21%. So definitely, as we have increased the margins in the visa business, we expect the margins also in this business as we mature as a company. This is a very new company. We started only 4-5 years back. So we expect margins to increase as we start more services from the existing centers.
Okay, now I'm coming to the bread and butter, the bulk business, Shikhar, and the world seems to be traveling like never before. You look at airports, you look at everybody trying to book a foreign holiday, look at load factors across airlines. So tell us, for this year, you should be doing a lot better than last year, right? Because FY23 versus 24, I think last year top line growth was just about 10-11%. So given that there's so much buoyancy in the global travel space, what should be an expected reasonable top line growth that you'll look at this year?
See, first of all, if you see last year, 2024, the financial year that we ended, we grew 60% at EBITDA level. So we did 325 crores of EBITDA compared to around 200 odd crores of EBITDA that we did the previous year. So there has been a massive growth, compared to last year. Definitely, the revenue growth has been a little less because, we changed certain structures across the world. Some of the partners, the local FMC partners that we were operating with, we took over those countries. So that is the reason, there was a less 10% increase only in revenue growth. But if you see EBITDA has grown by 60%. The margins have also grown. We did 21% of EBITDA margins in the visa business. We expect to grow further, at least by 300-400 basis points. That we expect to grow more in the visa business this year. Definitely, now, if you see after COVID that happened 2 years back, travel has become new normal. Now people are not only traveling one time in a year, people are traveling multiple times in a year. Everyone, all are traveling to newer geographies, nearby countries to far off countries. So definitely there has been a major surge in applications across the world. But, we also operate under a limit by the governments that we work with. We have to work according to their capacity. So we have revamped our offices across the world. We recently launched new joint visa center in Delhi. We're going to launch a new center in Mumbai. We have launched a new center in London. We are expanding our capacities. We have won new contracts with a lot of governments, like we recently rolled Portugal government contract in Morocco. We won Slovakia, Global, Italy, Hungary, Czech Republic, Portugal, so Poland. So many new contracts we've been winning. We renewed our existing contracts. So I feel that we are on a good growth trajectory. Whatever numbers we've achieved last year, we expect to maintain that and grow further.
Okay, you said 300 basis points expansion. That's Visa Business EBITDA margin expansion, right? What was 21 should become around 24 this year. That's what you're saying?
I mean, the target is that 300, upwards of 300 basis point the EBITDA expansion that we are seeing. We have seen a major surge in revenue in the applications, whereas cost has become rationalized. As we add more contracts, we can share the offices across the world. So economies of scale will kick in. And that is the reason, that we have been talking about from the last 2-3 years that as in when we win new contracts, we will add into our existing centers. So definitely margins will improve. And that is the same thing we are expecting this year.
Okay, all right. Hi, Shikhar. Good to see you on the show. And it's been a while since we spoke as well. Tell us about that inorganic growth. You briefly mentioned at the start of this interview and you just, sneaked it in and it went past. So what's the size of the acquisition you're looking at? And should we hear about something in this quarter, in the coming quarter? Quantum and timing.
See, the last acquisition in BLS International that we announced of iData, there is a multi-jurisdiction transaction. So there were some pending approvals. Most of them have come in. We expect to complete this transaction most probably within this month. That will be the first major acquisition. We are acquiring the fourth largest regional player, iData, which is working for German government and the Italian government. So we will be having 50% upwards of market share, for the visa business for Germany now globally. And now, as we go, our cash has definitely increased. We will be utilizing this cash in this acquisition. We are also eyeing other acquisitions across the world. Maybe within a few quarters, next 2 quarters, we will be announcing that as well in BLS International. And in BLS E-Services as well, the money that we raised with IPO, that IPO happened only 2-3 months, 3-4 months back. The money that we have raised, we are seriously looking at acquisitions in BLS E-Services, wherein we aim to finalize those acquisitions also within the next few quarters.
Okay, so more inorganic growth ahead. Looking forward to hearing more on it and more conversations around it as well. Shikhar, good luck with those plans. Thanks for joining in today. All right, with that, let's move back to the market. The market